whoa, 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 yeah, we are in the place to be. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. I am your host of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. My name is David Bradley, Senior Sales and Marketing Manager with Grant Cardone. No, I'm not. Well, yes, I am. And what am I? I'm having an identity crisis right here in the introduction of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. In addition to being a sales and marketing manager, I am also now your training facilitator and coach with Grant Cardone. New title, still getting used to it. All right. So what does that mean? I'll tell you about that in a second, because that is actually who's going to sponsor today's episode of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. But we're going to be talking about 16 things they don't teach you in school. That's today's topic. That's today's theme. So, first and foremost, for those of you first-timers, welcoming you to the Cardone Solutions Podcast would be the first thing I'd like to do. So let me just say welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you stopping by. If you're enjoying it, or if you already know you like it, go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you find by the end of this episode that you have received some value from it, first-timers and people that have been with me for a long time, which I truly, truly appreciate. If you're getting something out of it, if you're getting some value, if you're loving on it, please make sure that you get this out into cyberspace. You may hear something today that is beneficial to you, that is helping you. I would love it. I would consider it a personal favor if you would share this out into cyberspace so that somebody else can benefit from it too. Come on, man, don't be selfish. Share it. Get it out there. If it's helping you, I guarantee you it will help somebody else. So before we get into the 16 things they don't teach you in school, let us have a word from our sponsor, and I'll get a little bit more into that whole training facilitator and coach debacle that just happened a second ago. You ready? The Cardone Solutions Podcast is brought to you in part by Grant Cardone's Cardone University coaching program. What the heck is that, Dave? Thank you for asking. Let me tell you a little bit about it. My new job title, Training Facilitator and Coach with Grant Cardone, which means what? Which means not only do our clients have access to Cardone University, but they get access to me, a certified Cardone training facilitator and coach. Listen, Cardone University, literally, it's a gym for salespeople. If you're in sales, if you're in business, meaning if you do something where somebody gives you money for something else, you're in sales, okay? So, and if you want to have a deeper understanding about it, if you would like to sell more, if you'd like to grow your business, right? Then the same thing, if you want to go work out and you want to put on some muscle, you want to lose some weight, you go to the gym to do that. So Cardone University literally is a sales gym for you. Now you've got some choices. You can show up at the gym and you can try and figure it out on your own, or you can hire a personal trainer. There, ergo, moi, me. So, what would we do together if you decided to hire me and bring me on as your personal coach? First and foremost, we get you access to Cardone University. Second thing we do is we flip on the coaching program section inside Cardone U. And then we've got over 30 managed learning courses, roughly 1 to 2 weeks in length per skill set. So here's what I'd like you to do. Think about this for a second. One thing you or your sales team, you know deep down inside in your heart of hearts that you need to get a little bit better at, that you would like some training in. So we'll give you some videos to work through inside Cardone University. We're going to give you a workbook to go through, and then we're going to circle back around after about a week. And we're going to deep dive on all that content. I'm going to make sure you milk that content for everything that it's worth, that you get something out of it that you can then take and, just like the podcast, plug it into your sales and your business and your life. That is what happens with Grant Cardone's Cardone University coaching program. So if you'd like to have a little bit more information about that, if you'd like to maybe take that for a test drive, feel free to reach out to me at any point because I'm happy to help. My cell phone, 818-427-5188. That's how you get a hold of me. Call it, text it, or email me, david@grantcardone.com, or call me at the office, 310-777-0352 for more on coaching. Yeah. All right, so what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about the 16 things they don't teach you in school. You ready for that? So recently, the People's Shark, Mr. Damon John, He posted a graphic over on Facebook that my wife actually shared with me and tagged me on because she thought it would be interesting. It might even make what? A good podcast episode. Okay, so in this, there is a list of 16 things they don't teach you in school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this list for you. Okay, but before that happens, I want you to ask yourself, what do I wish that I'd have learned in school before going out into the real world? I'd like you to legitimately take a real moment, put some actual time and energy into that thought. So if you're listening right now, push pause and take some time on this thing. What do you really truly wish you'd have learned in school, right? If you didn't go to college, you just finished high school, what was the one thing you wish you could have taken with you on your way out the door? That would have been hindsight being 2020, right? Same thing with college, same thing with grad school. What every level of education was, what'd you miss? What did they skip? What did you not get that when you think back about it would have been like, oh, damn. Man, I wish they'd have taught me that in school. Okay? So take a real moment with this and come up with at least one. If not, you'll probably come up with several when you really put some thought into it, right? But I want you to do that first, okay? I'm going to go over the list right now, but push pause. Seriously, push pause, come up with your list. If you're driving, just think about it. And then I'm going to go off the list. I just, as an experiment, I want you to see how many you came up with that are actually on this list. Okay? And don't go Googling the list either. That'd be cheating. All right? So here's the 16. Okay, hold on. Push pause. Okay, you back? Okay, good. All right, so here's the 16. You ready? Okay, number 1, how to sell. 2, how to think. 3, how to negotiate. 4, how to face failure. 5, how to manage time. 6, how to invest money. 7, principles of success. 8, how to find your passion. 9, how to handle money. 10, how to make an impact. 11, how to start a business. 12, the importance of travel. 13, how to communicate well. 14, emotional awareness and intelligence. 15, how to read a financial statement. 16, how income tax works. All right? As I read them, it gets me like a little, kind of gear grinded, right? You think about that, you're like, man, they should teach this stuff in school. Okay? How many of these things that they don't teach in school did you come up with all on your own? Tweet me at David R. Bradley. Maybe even put a link to the podcast so you know what you're talking about. Let me know which one of those 16 or more you came up with all on your own before I read them off. Would love to hear that from you, okay? So in the post on Facebook, Damon says this. He says, quote unquote, think about how many times knowing how to negotiate would have come in handy, or how to communicate more effectively. If we were given these tools at a younger age, we'd all be in a better place right now. Who can argue with that? And why don't they teach us that stuff? I mean, seriously, if I'm gonna go off on a rant here, why don't they teach us that stuff? And I remember vividly my junior and senior year of high school. I had a history teacher, and then he was my poli-sci teacher, an amazing human being, right? Kent Hayden. I'll never forget this guy. He pushed so hard and he tried so hard to make sure that his students understood that when we get out into the real world, no matter what he's equipped us with, we're going to get hit in the face, hitting a brick wall of reality. And he used to even do that. He'd say that in high school and in college, you got blinders on. And he'd put his hands up over his eyes like a horse with blinders on. He'd be like, oh, you're going along. And then boom, and he'd smack himself into the chalkboard. It's like, boom, you hit the real world, right? And we all thought it was just funny. Until you actually realize that you've had blinders on the entire time and you hit the real world. Boom! Can you imagine if the alleged Ed for Living class, right, instead of making you watch some really awkward movie, covered things like what? How to balance a checkbook, how income tax works, how to read a financial statement, how to invest money, how to manage your time better, how to like face failure. Can you imagine if they'd actually taught that stuff in the Ed for Living class? When you go to a store or a restaurant and you realize, it dawns on you that you just got shortchanged by like a good amount of money. Do you bring it up right on the spot? Even a small amount of money, you realize you got shortchanged. You call them out and you bring it up. If you get in the car and realize it, do you actually get out of the car and you go back in? Ask for it? You confront it? What about if you got home? You paid with $100. You were expecting $80 in change. And you count it out and you realize that you only got 60. What do you do now? You go back and get it. You call the place. You make a thing out of it. Okay? Here's the bad news when you think about school. You got shortchanged. The bad news is you got shortchanged in school. And I don't know what you paid for it, but you got shortchanged. I got shortchanged. I know I did. Okay? The good news, it's always good news when there's bad news. The good news is the answers are out there, right? And the even better news is that there's literally something that you can do about it. So right now, if you need to go back and rewind them, I'll list them off for you again if you want. But right now, when you list the 16 out on your own, when you look at them, let's run them down again fast. How to sell, how to think, how to negotiate, how to face failure, how to manage time, how to invest money, principles of success, how to find your passion, how to handle money, how to make an impact, how to start a business, the importance of travel, how to communicate well, emotional awareness and intelligence, how to read a financial statement, how income tax works. When you look at those 16, what do you wish you knew? What do you want to know now? Or what do you want to be better at? And if you're the kind of person like me who would go back and get your change, this is your moment. Like, go take care of this business yourself. Get what you need to be even more successful. Like, you deserve to have this information. Nobody should tell you that you don't need to know that. And the best news of all, fortunately for us, every one of these topics is covered by Grant and Mr. John himself inside Cardone University. That's right, we've partnered with him. So you can have some of his content too. And if you don't get it from us, if you don't get it from me, if you don't get it from Grant, if you don't get it from Damon John, good God, get it somewhere. Because you totally deserve to have it. The information that is. The knowingness, the knowledge, the data. Don't forget, knowledge comes from doing. So don't just get the information and let it sit on you. You got to go do something about it. Okay? So if there's one thing you do next week, today as a matter of fact, you're listening to this on Monday. If it is Monday, September 28th, then you have an opportunity to plug yourself into some of this stuff right away, immediately. Okay? We are doing what Grant is calling the 10X Challenge. And here's the deal with that. It's a 10-day program in which Grant and a whole bunch of other people, including our buddy Damon John, a whole bunch of other celebrity guests, they're going to get together every single day. And they're going to be doing a live event on Facebook. And the goal, the purpose of the 10X Challenge is to help people around the world improve all aspects of their lives, especially those that have now been affected as a result of the pandemic and all of the things that come with that. So now we called it the 10X Challenge, Grant did, because as you know, I know you know this. You know that massive success literally is going to require a massive amount of action. And that we, us, you, I, everyone, must be willing to do what others will not in order to attain our financial and life goals. So when you think about the 16, are you willing to do what it's going to take to get better at those things once you identified the things you feel like you got shortchanged on? The 10X Challenge is going to go from today, September 28th, and then the next 10 days afterwards, up to October 7th. Whatever is on your list, there was 16 things I gave you. Whichever one of those you wanted to get tuned up, I promise you, guarantee you, hands down, bar none, you will get an answer to that during the 10X Challenge, assuming you go in looking for it. Okay? Starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every single day. If you decide to join us, if you would like to partake, if you'd like to hop on that train, grantcardone.com/challenge. It's grantcardone.com/challenge. Okay, so would love to see you there. I'll be there. You showing up for this deal? Good. Okay. And with that, I shall take my leave. This has been another exciting episode of the Cardone Solutions Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. For more information on the coaching that I mentioned earlier, give me a call. 310-777-0352. Shoot an email out, david@grantcardone.com. If you need to get some free access to Cardone University, so you can start poking around in there and making sense of digging a little deeper with coaching, head on over to cardonesolutions.com/Cardone U free. That's cardonesolutions.com/Cardone, the letter U, the word free. You can get yourself 2 weeks of access to Cardone University. Thank you again for listening. Make sure you've subscribed and shared. I'll leave you with the words of Grant Cardone, which is what this whole thing's been about, which is you be great, because nothing else pays. See you soon.